So let's go ahead and get started. Again, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me today at our weekly webinar where we talk about enough already because as women, we have so many things that we deal with that we leave ourselves to the end. So, enough already of leaving ourselves in the back burner. If this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining me. If you've been here with us before, thank you again, and I hope that you are finding the topics valuable. All right. I do want to let you know before we get started that this is your brave space. It's brave because I want you to know that you can be brave in it. And in order for you to be comfortable being brave, we have created these 3 agreements because I want you to feel empowered to share openly because that is one of the ways that we grow when we're sharing with others. These agreements are going to help us create an environment where everyone feels comfortable, stepping outside of their comfort zone and just sharing with others. So the first one is embrace discomfort. Sometimes, self discovery can bring up uncomfortable feelings or memories of things that from the past. When that happens, take a moment to reflect inward without judgment of yourself or the situation. Just lean into that experience as it may actually hold valuable insights for your growth. You also want to have respectful communication. Anytime that we engage with one another or that we are in this space, you want to be sure that you're actively listening and communicating with kindness. We want to foster an environment free from judgment. The other key thing is participation with openness. I encourage you to share openly as your contributions can actually benefit others within the community and help us grow. So, can we all agree that we will uphold this throughout our time together and any other time that we interact with one another? Thank you. You will also notice that each session has an intention because I do recognize that your time is valuable and I want to honor that. Therefore, I want you to set an intention of something you want to walk away with. So, feel free to share that in the chat. As you're typing those in, my intention is for the session to provide you with actionable tools and to help you learn how to reframe your inner critic and cultivate a more positive mindset. Before we go on, for those of you who are joining us for the first time today, my name is Ketty Fezahazian. I am a wife, a bonus mom to a beautiful girl, and a full-time mommy to 3 furry babies. My background is in leadership in the financial industry, working for a Fortune 500 company, as well as leading diversity and inclusion and equity teams. I have a passion for serving the underserved communities by providing them with information that's not readily available to them. And I do this by volunteering, including hosting workshops for nonprofits. But that was not always the case. You see, the first time that I signed up to volunteer, it was to help build a playground at a charter school. And I got to the event, I parked, and I could not get out of my car. The thoughts immediately flooded my brain. Why are you here? How are you going to help them? There are more people skilled than you. What do you know about building a playground? And blah, blah, blah. The unfortunate part is, that time, my limiting belief won. However, since then, I get that feeling. It comes up. However, I now have the tools to push through those limiting beliefs and get the work done. And so that's what I'm here to teach you. So let's talk about the inner critic. What is it exactly? Why do we even have one? The inner critic is actually a collection of our early experiences in life, the messages that we have received from others, and even past failures. The inner critic's job is actually to keep us safe. So it is helpful. But remember, the brain's job is to alert us to any perceived danger. And the brain does not know if it's just your imagination or if it's actually happening. Research shows that if you have the tendency to aim for perfection, that inner critic is going to possibly be extra loud. So if yours is really loud, think about that. Are you aiming for perfection? So, what impact do you think that the inner critic has on your overall well being? Think about how it shows up in our relationships, confidence, or even in our ability to try something new. Doesn't it try to sabotage us or stop us? So, now that we have identified what your inner critic is and why it's there, let's talk about different ways that the inner critic manifests. It shows up in a variety of characters. We're going to meet four of them today. They're the inner critic archetypes. But I like the word characters better because that's what's happening up here. It's a full on movie. So, first we have the judge. The inner critic, this inner critic, it's harsh, just like that lady, like Judge Judy harsh, constantly focusing on flaws and finding faults. It loves to compare you to others and point out where you fall short. So, how might that sound in your head? Yeah. So, it might sound like that presentation, girl, that was a total flop. You sounded so nervous, you came off as incompetent. Well, look at Sarah. She got another promotion. You'll never achieve her level of success. The perfectionist, the perfectionist sets unreasonably high standards that are almost impossible to meet. It thrives on control and meticulousness, making it hard to relax and enjoy your achievements. I know all about that because the perfectionist is nice and loud in there. So, how does that show up for you? Perhaps it feels like a lot of crippling pressure to have everything perfectly organized. Maybe in your house that it looks aesthetically pleasing. And so if it doesn't look like that, you have to rearrange everything, making it hard to relax even in your own home. If it's at work, possibly typing an email over and over again until it's perfect, or that report or presentation, that putting it together and making edits over and over again. You're spending hours to try to make sure that there is not even one small mistake in it. Yep. Then we have good old controller. It thrives on feeling in control and managing everything, often taking on even more that's healthy. It manifests as a constant need to fix situations and shoulder responsibilities for others. And it may sound like my friends are planning a girls' weekend, but they haven't booked anything yet. If I don't take charge, we're probably not even going to go. That is a real life example for me in the current moment. And I just have to be okay with it, right? Because let other people take charge. At work, possibly taking on more of everyone's workload and not delegating. So at this point, you probably feel a little burnt out because, if you don't do it, it's not going to get done right. right here. The victim. The victim loves to play the blame game, constantly dwelling on negative situations and external factors that are beyond your control. It makes you feel powerless and stuck. How the victim might show up is, I always get passed over for promotions. The system's rigged. There's no point in even trying. Or, I'm never going to get married. People don't want to commit these days. Or, man, if I wouldn't have even gone to college, I wouldn't be drowning in these student loans. So now that we have met these characters, take a few moments to identify what comes up for you the loudest. Because while all of these show up in different situations, there's that one that likes to hang out with you constantly. So we have the loudest one in there. And I want you to take time to reflect on that. So facing our inner critics can actually be tough, but it's a crucial step towards managing them. Because now that we know what it is, how it shows up, we can actually look at how we can reframe them. We can address that. So here I'm going to give you some powerful techniques to take your control back and try to quiet those negative voices. We're going to be using a few tools that I've created myself, or I've used myself as well, to silence inner critic. So you want to do evidence check, reframing, and cultivating in self-compassion. When that inner critic starts its negativity and you catch yourself, stop and ask, now, am I basing this thought on facts or is it just my perception? So let's stick to at work. Let's say you're going to give a presentation and it didn't go perfectly. So your inner critic jumps right in and starts to say, you're a failure. You're like, okay, now I'm a failure, and you're feeling completely bummed out. But hold on, let's do an evidence check. Did you completely fail? Are you a failure? Or did the presentation not go how you planned it to go? Did you completely mess it up? Did no one gain anything from it? Chances are that you have evidence to counter that critic's negativity. Remember, we are often our own worst critics. So it might be your inner critic might be being over dramatic about it. I struggle with it too. And it used to be pretty bad. So I started to actually keep a diary. What I noticed about myself is if I'm going to step outside of my comfort zone, I tend to procrastinate because, of course, I don't want to get to that yet. So I wrote the question at the top of the paper, why do I procrastinate? And then I started making a list and just stick to whatever comes up first, right? Because that's what's true to you. So I'm going to fail. People are going to talk about me. I don't know what I'm doing. All of that. Once you stop the list where you're having to be like, well, what else do I think? Stop. You're complete. Then go back and look at that. I'm going to fail. Okay. What will you gain from failing? How is failing going to help you? How do you know you're going to fail? Right? Nowadays, what is it? Show me the receipts. That's what you're doing here. You're asking your inner critic to show you your receipts. So, and then at the end of my list, when I first did it, I was like, well, none of it is true. So, again, it's just the inner critic looking at it from a past experience, and it doesn't actually have evidence. The next tool is the power of reframing. Instead of accepting that negativity as your truth, rephrase it into a more balanced and supportive perspective. So imagine you did fail or mess up a presentation. How can you rephrase the statement, I'm a failure, to something that's positive and factual? Some examples could be, yeah, that presentation could have been better. However, here are some of the things that I learned. I can use the feedback to improve for next time. Another thing you could say is, I can choose to focus on the positive aspects. So I managed through it okay. Hey, people even laughed at my joke. Focusing on the positive. Another tool is to learn to cultivate self compassion. That is our inner nurturer. What I mean by that is, let's do an example. Let's say you have a friend and they come to you and they're like, your friend is the person who did the presentation. Man, I'm having a rough day. I had to do a presentation and I messed it up because I lost my notes last minute. And so I had to just do it from scratch. It wasn't what I intended to do. What would your response to that friend be? It may be, oh, it's okay. You'll get it next time. I'm sure you didn't do so bad. I'm sure they walked away with the message that you wanted to send. Right? Something along those lines. You're going to be empathetic towards your friend. Now let's shift that. Now you're the one in your head that's telling yourself, man, I messed that up. I lost my notes and I'm having such a rough day because the presentation did not go as planned. What does your inner critic immediately start to say? See, I told you were going to mess it up. You mess everything up. That always happens to you. You should have been better prepared. You should have done plan B. Should have, could have, would have, right? Now you're criticizing yourself. Heck, when I even thought about that, even my body, like something shifted in my body because now I'm talking about me, not my friend. So just how you could respond to someone with such empathy because of your natural nurturing, your nature of nurturing, you can do that for yourself. We often extend kindness to people, but neglect to extend kindness and grace to ourselves. So the inner critic is right there, ready to pounce on your on the negativity. So instead of judging yourself harshly, try saying things like, it's okay. I'm sure it wasn't that bad. I'm sure somebody else found it helpful. But you mentioned this, and that was good. But for other scenarios, you can say, it's okay to feel this way. You're strong and capable. So for me, I'm always going to be transparent with you guys. And sometimes I might even say extra things. But in that spirit of transparency, today I wasn't feeling all that good. So I worked for a couple of hours in the morning, and then I took a break midday, just to relax. I just wanted to just kind of prepared for this. So I just relaxed, and I was on social media, and I was just doing recreational things for myself, my self-care. But that's not how I thought about it in the moment. In the moment, I was like, I could be working on blank. I could be doing blank. And then when I was like getting ready, I was like, see, if I would have done this, if I wouldn't have been relaxing, I could have done this. And then I had to catch myself because those were the negative thoughts that were coming up. And I was like, no, it's okay. You needed to rest so that you could have your energy. And so once you start to listen to your inner critic, you'll start to be able to catch yourself and reframe it. So I extended empathy towards myself and self compassion. And I said, it's okay, girl. You rested, and that's what you needed. And I left it at that. So here are some actionable steps for quieting your inner critic, because I want you to be able to have these tools so you can start practicing them on your own. So the first one is practice mindfulness. Again, pay attention to that negative self talk. So in the moment, you can reframe it. The other is affirmations. Have positive affirmations that are ready to counteract your negative beliefs. Instead of, I never do anything right, say, I learn and grow with every experience. I would suggest having at least 5 affirmations that start with I am. And if you want to find out more about how you can um, do your affirmations, last week we've talked about that. You can go and watch that video on our YouTube channel so that you can get the steps on how to write affirmations. But basically, you want to say, I am, in the 5 affirmations, I am. And then you want to set them present tense in a positive way, be specific, and then do them every day. It's like your daily gym, right? Just like how we work out for our bodies, work out for our mindset. That's the affirmations. You want to say it every day. And when you're saying it, you want to feel it. Once you have that, it will be ingrained in you. So once that negativity comes along, you can pull one of your 5, whatever fits the situation. The other is journaling. Journaling will help process emotions and challenge negative thought. So as you write down, you'll start to see patterns of how you view yourself. This can actually help you cultivate self-compassion, because if what you're seeing is, man, every time I write about myself, it's something negative, then you can start to reframe it and then say, it's okay. Because sometimes that's what you need. You just need that it's okay to feel the way you're feeling, right? Just like children need that. We never outgrow the feeling of being nurtured too. We think that, oh, because you're an adult, you're the one that needs to nurture others. But no, we still need that embrace. We still need that. Not everybody, what does they say, is touchy feely. I get that. But you want somebody to tell you, it's all right. You got this. Because guess what? We're all going through something. And that inner critic is inside of everyone's mind. So find out which reframing technique works well for you, which one you want to start off with, and then work yourself through it. There's no right way to start it. And it's just however you want to practice it. And it is a practice. So please, please be patient with yourself and celebrate your progress. So if it's that one time that you're like, oh, I caught myself, celebrate that. Why not? You're growing, right? We're also taught that we celebrate everyone else. But when it's you, I just did it, right? but start to celebrate yourself. If it's something where you're like, great, I've earned an extra nap or to relax for a little while. Or sometimes for me, I buy cupcakes, depending on how big my achievement is, right? I buy a cupcake and I'm like, yay, it's my celebration. Or I love to dance. So I'll just put something on and I'm like, yes, throw myself a mini party. I mean, I throw myself pity parties. Why wouldn't I throw a celebration party? So no matter how small, celebrate yourself. I'm going to keep reminding you about that. Celebrate yourself and celebrate yourself consistently because you've got this. The fact that you're even here trying to learn more is reason for you to celebrate. So today we explore the inner critic. We learned about its many personalities. Remember, you are not defined by those negative thoughts. And now that you have the tools to separate yourself from the inner critic's voice, you can start to challenge it. Remember, your inner critic is a misguided advisor, not an enemy. So, by understanding its archetypes and motivations, you can reframe the message and work with it, not against it. Remember, self-compassion is the ultimate weapon. Now that you understand and now that you have learned and understand more about the inner critic, you can actually start to reframe it and you can create a supportive inner voice. Imagine, yes, girl, you can do it. Oh, we don't know what the outcome's going to be, but girl, you got this, right? How amazing would that be if you can wake up in the morning and be like, today's my day. I'm going to do this. I am powerful. What do you think that would do? Didn't even take a minute to say that. That's what the affirmations are for. So practice self-care and ultimately you'll transform the relationship with yourself. I encourage you to continue to journal, to start your journal, no matter what it looks like. Here's mine. I used to be all, I wanted to be fancy and so girly and so cute. Here's an example of one that I was like, well, let me create one. I think I wrote, oh, well, there's a few pages, but it's blank. This one, I think I'm halfway done. They're there. My affirmations, and just anything that comes up, it's all in here. My affirmations. So notes, I journal every day and I have it here because I know this is where I'm going to be. So before I start my day, I take a few minutes to just write down what's going on and what's showing up for me. Remember, treat yourself with kindness so that you can unlock your true potential because you can conquer anything. Use those tools to silence the inner critic and change the way it sounds because you are a powerful being. So thank you so much for joining me today. Let's keep this conversation going. You can join us on our social media platforms. At Instagram, we are at She Limitless Coach. On Facebook, we are She Is Limitless. And you can sign up for our next webinar next week on the 31st, Wednesday the 31st, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we are going to be talking about setting healthy boundaries. If you want to continue to do the work on a personalized level and go deeper, contact me at sheisLimitlessCoach@gmail.com, and I would be happy to work for you. With that, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Take care. Until next time. Bye.